And here comes our On Time with Bridgestone special. A 69 Ford Mustang Boss 429 Fastback.
We've talked about what fabulous cars these are, and I really like some of the steps that the restorer has taken with this one. As these cars went down the assembly line, they received marks in different places, sometimes a stamp, sometimes a crayon, that indicated that different processes in the assembly had been completed. So this car is presented just as it would have been delivered to the dealer before it was cleaned up for delivery to the customer, who then had the task of maintaining this engine. This engine is dry decked. That means it has no one-piece head gasket. Every water passage, every oil passage has its own little O-ring. I don't know how many there are on each side, but I know it's enough to elicit colorful language from anybody who has to replace the cylinder heads on these, because you end up doing it often. There's always one that slips out of place. That said, this was the King Kong of Ford engines in the late 60s and early 70s.
You know, funny thing is, of course, Bill France in NASCAR said, hey, Ford, if you want to run that motor, you've got to sell X number to the public. Well, the original idea was to put this motor into the Galaxy. And then Bunky Knudsen was appointed the president at Ford from GM. And he says, hey, we're not going to do that. Let's make a Mustang. So they jumped on this thing. Larry Shinoda, of course, came up with the Boss moniker. Some of the graphics, more specifically on the 302 Boss. And here it is. So they basically, NASCAR said, okay, put them in Mustangs, but you take them out and race them in the Torinos. So it's an interesting twisting of the homologation game. But here it is. If it wasn't for Bill France, these would not exist.
These cars were built on a special assembly line at a company called CarCraft. So they carry a CarCraft KK number. Here's a picture of the plant, in addition to the Ford serial number. They were built in batches, and down in the lower left or lower right photo, you see the sequence numbers of those cars as they were built. We'll look on the windshield of this one, and you will see a replica of its CarCraft sequence number. A lot of great detail in the build of this car.
Here's $230,000 worth and then some.
At the height of muscle car madness, these were $300,000 cars. So whoever buys this today is going to be very happy in about 5 years or so as it rolls away.
$235,000 makes it our number 4 seller of the day and the auction.
Almost 50 years ago, Ford Motor Company introduced an iconic brand with an undeniable shape and style all its own. The Ford Mustang instantly captured the hearts and minds of young and young at heart car enthusiasts everywhere. Back then, a group of passionate Ford engineers also created a special Mustang, a car designed to be the best all-around road-going machine ever created by the Ford Motor Company.
So the car you see here has it's going to be, of the Laguna Secas that we're going to be selling, only one is going to be Grabber Blue, and it's this car right here.
20, I'm going to get 30, I'm going to get 30, 40, I'm going to get 40, 50, I'm going to get 60, I'm going to get 70, I'm going to get $80,000, I'm going to get 90, I'm going to get 90 to be at 90, I'm going to get 90, 100, $100, I'm going to get 110, 10, 10, 110 to 100, I'm going to get 10, 10, 110, you want it, I'm going to get 110, I'm going to get 10, 20, I'm going to get 120, 30, I'm going to get 130, I'm going to get 30, 30, 30, 130, 130, 130, $100, I'm going to get 80, 90, I'm going to get 190, I'm going to get 90 there, 190, 190, get 200, I'm going to get $200,000, I'm going to get 2 to be at 10, I'm going to get 2, I'm going to get 2, 20 to be at 20, I'm going to get $220,000, able to get 2, 10, 20, able to get 220,000, I'm going to get 20,000, able to get 240 is bid, 250,000, I'm going to get 250, $260,000, able to get 250, able to get 260 is bid, 270, able to get 270, able to get 270, able to get 270, 280, able to get 80, able to get $280,000, able to get $280,000, able to get 280, now 300,000, where able to get 300,000, let's go. Able to get 3 to be in 3 to buy, able to get 3, able to get 3, $300,000 is bid.
Doak Lambert on the headset. New top seller of the auction. '69 Chevy Camaro Copo Coupe.
Certified Copo car, Bob, I'm sorry, go ahead. Certified Copo car, 17,500 original miles, not bad for a 40-year-old Camaro.
Well, to get one of these, you had to have connections in Detroit at Chevrolet's central office, because a 427 in this car was not a regular production order option. You had to go through COPO, the central order processing office, or office order vice versa. But you had to know somebody, and the best somebody to know was Vince Piggins at Chevrolet Engineering.
Well, I know a couple of the dealerships, of course, Berger Chevrolet, and of course the fellow in Pennsylvania, Mr. Yenko. Thank you.
Nicky Chevrolet in Chicago. There were several dealers nationwide that specialized in this.
They bought up a bunch of these, and the idea with these things is they're not super sports. These are standard base sport coupe Camaros with a 427 engine in place. Some automatic, some 4-speeds, but the punchline was NHRA says, once again, you want to come drag racing, you got to make so many of these things to run legally in our Superstock B and Superstock C classes. So there they were, and they were very competitive.
Here we go. $100,000. I didn't even have one. $110,000. Sold at $107,000.
65 Plymouth Belvedere Superstock drag car. Look at the location of those rear wheels.
Well, those injector stacks look like organ pipes as they stand proud out of the hood.
Well, they kind of do the same thing. The naturally occurring resonant frequencies that make sounds in an organ also bounce back and forth between the atmosphere and the intake valve on an engine. And what you do is basically you tune the length of those stacks, and you can get a slight form of supercharging. That's what that's all about. But the craziest thing about these cars is the rear axle. You can see it's been moved forward 15 inches, the front axle 5 inches. The whole point of that was to put more mass on the rear tires. Sitting still, these have about 60% of the mass on the rear tires and 40 on the front. You may find that hard to believe with that Hemi up front, but it's true.
1963 Ford Galaxy 500 hardtop.
Well, guys, this one is a very rare car. It's a 427 R code, lightweight, fiberglass doors, fenders, hood. And inside the glove compartment, there's a little memo, a little riveted tag that tells that this car is specifically built for drag racing. That piece right there tells you that Ford was very serious about constructing cars to go drag racing, but they didn't really want them used on the street. Now, the fiberglass doors on this are a set of maybe about 50 or so, and $67,000. That's a tremendous, tremendous buy.
Oh, yeah.